Hey guys, this is Rick from DFSOnDemand.com, and I am here to show you how to best use the MLB Game Logs from last season. So what you're looking at here is exactly that. It's last season's Major League Baseball Game Logs. So what that means is that it is every player from every game last season. I think there's over 50,000 games for hitters, and then on a new tab there is every game for starting pitchers, which is something like another 4,800 or 5,000 games. And it has as much information as I could have possibly put together here for you. The player name, the date, the result of the game, his line, what position he played. DraftKings and Fanduel scoring, which you should note this is based on last season's Fanduel scoring. So they've updated it for the 2016 season, but this is 2015 game logs, so it's 2015 Fanduel scoring. And then it has the Las Vegas over-under as well as the money line for the game. Now, how you use this is really up to you. I just wanted to show you a couple of quick ways that I use this and some trends that I'm finding, and you can slice this data up as much as possible. So what I have it here is I have it sorted by how many DraftKings points these players scored last season. So Yoenis Cespedes, he had the best DraftKings game last season with 67 DraftKings points, and it just goes down from there. What I really like is this BOP. This is where they hit in the order. So Cespedes batted third that day. Jackie Bradley Jr. batted ninth that day. Brandon Phillips batted first, etc., etc., etc. And what I was able to do was use this information to kind of find some interesting trends. So this is the graph that I provided. I mean, this is straight from the game logs. And as you can see, there is a clear correlation between where you hit in the order and how many DraftKings points per game that you will produce. Obviously, it's not an exact science. Not every 9 hitter is always going to score you 3 points, but this is the average game. Hitting earlier in the order is obviously a big help. You're probably a better player, but you're also more likely to see an extra at-bat, which goes a long way in Major League Baseball scoring. So this obviously makes sense. Now, you can obviously sort this any way you want. So as I go back here, you'll see all I've done is I've sorted this by the player. So you'll see Mike Trout, and then based on DraftKings points, so I have his best games first. So you can see this is really interesting for Mike Trout. So what I found out is that in 15% of games, Mike Trout posted 0 or less DraftKings points. It's pretty incredible to think that the best player in the game is putting up a goose egg 15% of the time. Also, while I'm here, the rank is interesting. The rank is where they ranked in terms of that day's slate. So on July 26th, Mike Trout was the highest scoring player based on DraftKings scoring. That's what that means. He was only, believe it or not, again, hard to think that Mike Trout was only the top performer 3 times this season. I think he played 159 games. So really interesting. So you can look at this any way you want to get splits. You can pull out Mike Trout's splits at home, away, when he's a favorite, when he's an underdog, all that good stuff. And speaking of being a favorite and being an underdog, I'll switch over to the pitchers tab so you can kind of see what's available over here. Again, a lot of the same information, the pitcher's box score or his line score, his fantasy scoring, whether he was home, away, etc., etc. But what's really interesting is there is a clear correlation in baseball, much clearer than other sports, where the Las Vegas line can be very indicative of how many fantasy points a player is going to score. So using these game logs, I was able to create a chart that looked just like this one, which is, this is for pitchers. And this is the Las Vegas money line across the bottom and the DraftKings points per game across the top here on the y-axis. So what you're looking at is a clear correlation between the bigger the favorite the pitcher is, the more DraftKings points he is going to score on average. That is quite clear. And it's something, again, that you would expect, but when you see it visualized like this, you can start to see where the tipping point is, where, maybe minus 175 and greater, those are pitchers that you really want to target, as opposed to, maybe some of these pitchers that are closer to, or are smaller favorites. So again, as we flip back here, I've now just sorted the pitchers by name and by DraftKings scoring. So here are all of Clayton Kershaw's game logs for last season. This is really helpful to kind of see a player's ceiling or to see his floor very quickly. Obviously, Kershaw has a ceiling of 54 DraftKings points. His floor looks like it was 2.25. Now, if you just highlight these, you can, kind of use that Excel function and see his average or things like that. So if you quickly highlight them, there's all of his games. You'll come down here, change it to average. You can see 27.2. I think you can see that there we go. 27.2 was his season average with a ceiling of 54. And we know that his floor was, what would I say, 2.25 or something like that. So this is just a really powerful spreadsheet. You can do anything you want. You can slice this any way possible. You can find all the trends. You can see, how volatile a player is, who's better at home, who's better away, all that good stuff. These are available for you to download on dfsondemand.com. They are $15. I should say they're only $15. Quite frankly, this took me hours and hours to compile. This will save you a lot of time if you're trying to put this together yourself. You have it all here in an Excel sheet with hitters on one tab, pitchers on another, and you can use this information any way you please. If you find something cool, if you find a cool trend, shout it out to me. Let me know. Other than that, you guys know how to reach me. It's at DFS On Demand on Twitter, or shoot me an email or get me at dfsondemand.com. Thanks a lot. Talk to you guys soon. See ya.